That's the correct video. And now I'm going to stop it here and then. Yep. So, welcome to the first of the next 6-week classes in mindful healing, mindful aging, conscious aging, how to oi without the vey, face the music and dance, whatever you want. But we're coming and to practice some skills on how to deal with life and aging. We're going to have some teachings, some philosophy, some principles of health and healing and spirituality that are universal, that will help us deal with what arises in our aging process. And then we have to apply it in our life. So the hope is that this class, and I'm doing it as an intro for all of us, because you teach what you need to learn, and you got to keep reminding yourself of what you need and what you want to learn. So repetition is always a good learning process, especially in this, and the challenges that we face. So the first is many different ways to look at it. So I'm going to do a little bit longer introduction because one of the other things that I'm hoping to do is record this, not everything, not when we speak, but when I give a little introduction or when I do guided meditations, so people can have it now and in the future. So I've been teaching this class for almost 20 years, and I haven't really recorded anything. So I've given out a lot of handouts. I've said a lot of things, some of them wise, some of them not so wise, but hopefully some of the wisdom shines through. And I've heard over the years that it's supportive of people to be happy and healthy. And that's the focus here. Like the title of my little book on happiness. Happiness through meditation as one tool, but we can find happiness in a lot of ways. So I'm going to just begin with some basic intro. How many of you have not been to one of my classes before? So we have a number of new people. So whether you're new or nobody here is old, we're all growing young, whatever it is. Hi, Susan. Welcome. Um, we're all learning and we're all learning from each other because if you're not going through what somebody else is going through now, you'll go through it sooner or later. That's just how it works. And hopefully, learning from each other, we'll learn how to face it in a positive way, and you can pick out something of use for you. Uh, some of the practices we're going to do is just basic mindfulness meditation to be aware, to be in the moment, to live in the now, and practice some compassion, kindness, forgiveness, and resilience, all of those words. But when we apply them in our life, they really help. One other thing to share as an intro. So I'm semi-retired, which means I'm still working because I'm teaching here, but I'm still seeing some patients and still training some doctors. I'm a holistic, naturopathic, mind-body physician. I specialize mostly in the mind-body connection and how stress from our life, from our past, from our ancestors, from what we're doing day to day is affecting our hearts and our minds and our body with disease and illness and depression and anxiety that needs all sorts of treatments. So this is not separate from anything. This is to integrate with whatever else you might be doing to help yourself get well. But this is more healing from within, empowering you to use your mind and your body to help and heal and support yourself. And it can be quite powerful medicine, just like everything else that's happening in the senior center, like art class, like yoga classes, like writing, whatever it may be. It's all part of the journey. Zumba classes and dancing. Find your passion is the key. But here, I think the essence of what I'm hoping to share, which I'll speak about now a little bit, is a quote of mine. Serenity is not freedom from the storm, it's peace amidst the storm. So how do I stay at peace? How do I find peace of mind? I found that that's an important aspect of life, whether you're 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, or 100. How am I dealing with what's going on right now? And the point is, if I can deal with the tough stuff, and not get pulled so deeply into it in a way that I can't see the good stuff that's always there. That's the challenge because we also want to smell the roses. And sometimes if we sweep the tough stuff under the rug, the roses go with it, and we're not able to see both. And that's our challenge. How do we find, turn straw into gold, as it were? And for me, that your pain is your teacher, illness is an opportunity, aging is just what it is. And we know what it is. And each of us have to develop the skills and ability to deal with it and face it as best we can. Another part of the reality, getting older, having different parts of our body break down at different stages, is the concept of death and dying, which we all have to face. So, just on a personal note, in the last 3 weeks, a patient of mine, his wife had been diagnosed with a brain tumor out of the blue, and she's gone. I just got a call from a daughter of an old friend. He's 85. We used to do things together and work together. He had a stroke and died. So this is part of my aging that I'm sharing with you. That this is, I guess, what happens as I just turned 75. Um, so that's happening in my life. My close friends and family are starting to also age. And I have to come to terms with that and how to learn how to grieve and how to face that, deal with my own fears of all of that. But all of that is part of the dance that we're speaking of in how to be here now. So that's another phrase that's really important. Come into the present moment. It's where healing happens. The issue with stress is sometimes it's not in the now, it's stuff from the past that we're carrying. So I taught this in my first class, and I'll share it again. If somebody goes into a back doctor's office and they complain of back pain, they walk into the office carrying bags of stuff on their back and in their arms, and they're walking in like this, this little stuff with that. Right? And they tell the doctor, I got bad back pain. If the doctor's a smart doctor, he's going to say something like, why don't you lay that stuff down? Don't put the computer around with you. No wonder your back hurts. By the way, that's part of mind body medicine for back pain. But the same thing is true for the mind and the emotions. And, we're carrying stuff. And you've heard the phrase, you can't take it with you. So the challenge is, what do we hold on to? Not grasp, not attached to, but what do we hold down to, take with us of wonderful memories about life, about our past, about our loved ones to keep with us? And what do we let go of that we don't want to carry around anymore? Anger, resentment, blame, judgment, all grief that we haven't hold on. So a lot of aging is this process of being able to choose, being aware of how to deal with and face what's happening for us. That's what mindfulness, to learn to be aware so that you can choose how to face the situation, so that you can respond to it instead of react to it. So for those who've come to my class before, I talk about this quote and this person because it means a lot. His name was Viktor Frankl. How many people have heard of him in addition to me talking about him all the time? He wrote a book called Man's Search for Healing, for Meaning, and he was a survivor of the Holocaust, and he was exploring how to face these challenges, and what was important in life was looking for meaning, looking for purpose, and he developed a therapy called logotherapy, psychiatry. And he had a quote that I'll share with you now, because it's really at the heart, the essence, when I was thinking about this class in the next 6 weeks and asking, what am I teaching? And I'm going to want to know from all of you, what are you learning? So I can convey that what I'm saying is getting through, and you're learning something, and it's supportive of you, so we can share it with other people. He said, everything can be taken from a person but one thing, the last of human freedom. the right to choose one's own way in any given set of circumstances. I can't tell you how important that is. We all went through COVID together. The only difference between how some people went through it and the others who didn't get sick and were okay was their attitude towards it. How did they deal with being at How did they deal with not being able to go out? How did they deal with the fears and worries about maybe getting sick because they have a pre-existing? We're seeing wildfires, Canada, and what the horrors of what just happened in Hawaii. How do we face that? How do we deal with that? So these are the challenges, and we can cultivate the awareness to see clearly and the ability to choose. How do I want to deal with this? This is one of the benefits. I'm not, we're never getting political in this class, but I will say that we live in a free country, and that freedom to choose how your way, how are you going to do it? The big part of medicine, and a big part of aging. There are a zillion things I could list to you and tell you to do every single day. Yeah, I'll eat this and eat that and do this exercise and meditate this and meditate that. And all of that's great and it's important and do it. And find your bliss and help other people and volunteer and you'll live a long life. Do that. But, and what's happening in your mind, in your attitude, in your consciousness, in how you're choosing to see the world and choosing to see the aging process, not from something that you regret and dread only. Can't say it's fun to notice, oh my God, I went to the doctor and I got another drug to take, or I got another surgery to look forward to, or I got another whatever is going to happen. But this is life. How am I going to greet it? Am I going to welcome it as a teacher and a guest? And then deal with it and then come to terms with it. So those are the basics of the teaching. So we're going to do a little bit of practice. Going to do this every week. We're going to start with a practice. And you'll have your own practices. So this is, you take what you want, you leave the rest. It's a meditation to come in the now and be quiet. Tune into yourself. Listen to your body. Listen to your mind. Listen to your heart. If you're religious or spiritual or whatever you want to listen to birds, you want to listen to God, you want to pray, whatever you want to do in this period, a few minutes of just mindfulness. Just stop. Tune in. Listen. Listen to yourself. Big part of what I do as a doctor. I don't have any magic pills, quick fixes. I ask people, are you willing to listen to yourself? Tell me your story. Let's listen to it. What's going on? They see a lot of good doctors who are doing good things, treating it properly. There's some aspect of it that they're not talking about. Just tell me about it. What do you think your headaches are about? And they tell you, what are you carrying from the past that you're still angry at your mother or your father or your ancestors from what happened? And you never talked about it. You never dealt with it. Well, it doesn't go away. It stays. It stays with you if you don't process it. From simplest anger to grief to fear, it's just called trauma. So our challenge is how to not re-traumatize ourselves with getting old. How do we welcome every aspect of aging? I mean, and I'm saying it a positive welcoming because it's going to come. People are going to die. You're going to get sick. Somebody you know is going to be in a hospital bed, and you're going to go to visit somebody in hospice. So I don't say that look forward to it, but so that when you know it comes, most important thing is I can deal with it. I can face it. So I'm going to call on somebody now who's not here, who comes to my class every week for the last 20 years. His name is Herb. And sadly, Herb is in the hospital. Herb is 98. He's okay. He's okay. But he's 98. You should be as okay as Herb, 98. And Cheryl's not here because she comes with him when he comes. But I'm talking to him every day on the phone. He's screaming, "Get me out of here!" But he's okay, and they're still testing and seeing what's going on. He's pretty good to get to 98, and he's got his mind and he's got his body and he takes care of himself. And I learned from him. I learned from you. Those are my teachers, my patients, everything I'm sharing with you. I'm learning and I'm still learning. And I asked him. So those of you who come to class know, I asked him, what have I taught him that he likes. He carries around this paper. I'm going to give one to everybody in honor of Herb. So we're going to say a little prayer for him when we do the meditation. And he talks about these seven intentions, and he carries it around with him in his pocket. So when I ask the question, when I ask myself, so how do I deal with this situation? How can I respond? How can I be with it? I have not an answer, but I have a crib sheet that gives me some tools that gives me a choice that says, oh, Paul, don't judge. Be patient. Have a beginner's mind. Step back. See it with new eyes. Maybe you can learn something. Don't react right away. Trust the process. There's something good in here that you can find. Don't strive to fix it and change it and get rid of it. Just welcome it. Listen to it. Accept it. Accept. Accept. Not easy. And then the last one is letting go by letting be. I'm going to give these out. One other point to emphasize today, which we're going to talk about, is the serenity prayer. You've heard of serenity prayer? Well, whether you're religious or not, or God or not, you can use God, you can call whatever faith you have, but it's really very powerful medicine. Practice. Simple prayer. God, God grant me, or may I be granted the serenity to accept the things I can't change. Can I be at peace with the way things are? Can I be at peace? I don't like it. Can I have serenity? Can I have peace in the storm? And second one, the courage, God knows, accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So this simple process of face the music of dance, of how to order without the they, how to choose to respond or react, requires courage. Because it requires you to face something inherently difficult. A pain, a wound, a fear, a death, a worry, an ache, something where there's no answer. It's an impermanence. You can't hold on to it. You can't take it. You have to let it go. But it hurts. So that prayer with peace in the storm really says it all. Can I accept what's happening? Can I change things I can't change? Can I accept what I can't change? And can I have the wisdom to know the difference? The wisdom comes from your own awareness, not from me or anybody else telling you what you should think or what you should do or how you should act. It comes from you being aware, using certain principles to guide you. If these things make sense to you, these intentions, practice them, use them. And it's funny because, take one. When I ask Herb, whenever I see him, he carries it around with him to remember, to remind him. So I have to go and make sure he's got one. The hospital. I got to go. So I had them printed out today. Okay. So that's all this is. That's all this is to help us be with the truth. There's a phrase, the liberating experience of facing painful truths. And life is good. I'm I'm inspired by I say the same people all the time, but they still inspire me by my uh Anne Frank. After what she went through at the end of her book, I still believe people are good. Good. Anne Frank. People are good. Good. People are good. Or Mother Teresa has a whole thing. People are gonna lie. You be honest anyway. People are gonna be mean. You be nice anyway. So we have that choice all the time, not to fall in that hole. Or with illness, Maury. Tuesdays with Maury to laugh. So when I talk to her, we joke a little bit. I don't mean to be too sexist, but we talked about pinching the tuchuses of the nurse to be a dirty old man. And I joke with him. We go, so Herb, how many did you get today? He joke. Each, we joke, but that's laughing instead of oy vey. That's how the oy without the vey. He's in the hospital. He's not happy. It's not a fun place to be. But
They keep him in purpose. Keep him in purpose at the hospital.
Purpose, yeah, yeah. Purpose, meaning, purpose, goals, enjoy it, yeah. So that's our challenge, and nobody can do that but you. So just so you know, that's what inspires me in my teaching and the like, is to give people, support people, to give you the tools and the resources and the awareness and the choices, so you're making that choice for yourself. And I mean, I've ate drugs, I've had surgery, I see doctors, of course. But there's another level of healing that involves you looking inside yourself and facing your own truth. And that's what I'm teaching here in terms of dealing with aging, whatever it may be, in your mind, in your body, in your heart, in your past, in your future, in your relationship. They're your teacher. Can you welcome them? Can you let them teach you? And, there's that old phrase, no pain, no gain. We don't want pain, but there's two kinds of suffering. One leads to more suffering, which is we avoid it, we deny it, we run away from it. And the other is not we accept it and give up. We face it and we have the courage to change what we can. We fight in a positive way of fight. Okay? So let's do some practices, then we'll have some discussion. Okay? So I invite you to close your eyes. And this is something you can do every day, morning and night, which will be helpful to come into the present moment. That's the first one. To be here now. That's a phrase I say to myself all the time. There's a book written in the 60s by Ram Dass, psychologist, who went spiritual. And a guru wrote a book called Be Here Now. It's the whole story. How to be here, how to be here now. And the way we tune into the now is by opening our awareness to the breath. Bring our awareness to the now. Come into the breath. Close the eyes. No need to look at me. You want to look inside yourself with awareness. Notice I'm alive. Feel your breath. You hear my voice. Your feet are on the floor. Your buttock is in the chair. You hear sounds. You feel the breeze of the air conditioning. You're right here, right now in this room. This room is a special cocoon room. When you come in, you grow young. You go out, you're younger than when you came in. You're wiser, you're happier, you're healthier. Just by being in this room with each other. So come into the moment and tune into the body. Breathe into your feet, your calves. Sense and feel the senses of your touch of your body to the chair. This is training your mind to see clearly. Your abdomen, your chest, your arms, your hands. Listen to your body. Scan your body. Your face, your neck, your jaw, your eyes, your forehead, your scalp. You don't have to go on a meditation retreat. You don't have to meditate for an hour. Take 1 minute to stop and breathe and come into the moment. And just notice what's happening in your mind. I gave it a little talk. Maybe you have some thoughts there. Maybe it stimulated some feelings, some emotions, some ideas, which we can talk about. But just notice what's happening in you. And as we observe ourselves, we're creating a relationship with these intentions to be patient, to see things fresh and new, not judge, to let it be in this moment. So you're just going to practice for a minute or two. We're going to ring a bell. We're going to sit silently. You're just going to observe your breath. And your mind's going to wander. You're training your mind like a puppy dog. The mind will wander. You bring it back to the breath. You be here now. Not complicated. just a minute or two of mindfulness practice. Observe your breath in the moment, relax the body, let the mind go wherever it wants, but bring it back to the breath. Bring it back like a puppy dog. Bring it back to your side. Just a couple of minutes. Keep your awareness within. To focus on the breath. We're going to end with a moment or two of compassion practice, self-compassion. Really important, really supportive, especially when we're dealing with difficulties, pain, challenge, situations that are hard, with the suffering, on whatever level, body, mind, heart, spirit, for ourselves and others as well, but for ourselves, just an acknowledgement. If you think of one part of your life right now that's a challenge to you, a stress, a difficulty, whichever you'd like to just bring into your awareness now. Doesn't have to be your biggest life problem, but just one to practice compassion, whatever it may be. An ache, a pain, relationship with someone that's difficult. And it's just a three-step process, another tool, another skill to help us deal with life. And before we react, we can say to ourselves, bring it into our awareness, notice how it affects us. We think about it, what we feel about it, how it shows up in us, this difficulty, this pain, this issue, whatever it may be. A feeling, a difficult feeling. You just acknowledge, this is hard for me. It's difficult. This is a moment of suffering. I may not have the answer. This may be something that I have to come to terms with and learn how to deal with. So the first step is just to acknowledge the truth of it. This is a moment of difficulty, of suffering. Hard. Like step one, facing the truth. And step two is this is part of being human. I'm not the only person who feels this, has felt this, will feel this, is happening to me. It's part of being human. It's part of the human condition. And it gives us a little breathing room not to get so caught up in it. So we acknowledge a difficulty, we acknowledge it's part of life, it's part of being human. And then the compassion comes when we tell ourselves, I'm going to be kind to myself, I'm going to be nice to myself, I'm going to have compassion for myself. Passion is a tool to help us deal with pain and difficulty and suffering, for which there may not be an easy answer or quick fix. We have to face it. The heart's open. So compassion is a tool, it's a skill, it's a quality that we can cultivate with courage, have the clarity to see clearly, connect with ourselves and each other. So that's the other part of compassion. It connects us to ourselves and our difficulty. And it also connects us with the pain and suffering of others. So when we see what happens around the world with the horrors of war and global warming and weather problems, destroying homes and families and lives, our heart connects with that. It's a way that we can be with it. It's the way that we can be with that suffering of life. And always end with the dance, with happiness, with your passion, what brings a joy, what brings a smile to your face, what makes you happy. Because we have to be able to hold both the joy and the sorrow, especially as we age. So find some joy in your life that you can take day to day, whether it's the flower growing in your garden or the phone call from a grandchild, to really appreciate and be here now for the joy of life. So we connect with ourselves with compassion and we connect with others. And when ready, so when I speak about the question of being aware and choosing and responding, and we ask, how can I be with this? What's a good response to this? These 8 C's are qualities that we all can cultivate to let a part of us be in the lead to make that choice and make that response. It's like the wise part of us. When you have to decide if you're going to marry your husband or not, you had to sit and really go deep inside and explore and listen to yourself and trust yourself. And that's the part of you trusted to say yes, etc. So this part we call, this is in a particular kind of therapy, internal family system therapy, just to let you know where the resource comes from. But it's nothing new. But the context is called 8 C's of self-leadership. So when we practice meditation and compassion, we're cultivating these qualities that enable us to face life and to respond with these ways of being. So with these 2 sheets, you have everything you need to face life, or without the vein, to face the music and dance, to share your joy with, to face suffering, and choose how to be with it, etc. So I want to look at those 8 C's and 7 intentions, and I want you to practice them over the next week because the healing is not just what you learn here and experience in class, it's what you practice out there. Like Herb, practicing the 7 intentions. Are there extras? Yeah, give me whatever extras there are. Yeah, thank you. Thanks. Thank you. So these are the 8 C's. We talk about it. It's integrated. It just pulls it out. And it's a place inside of you that you naturally have. So you think of when you become a grandma and how you're going to be holding your grandchild with all of these qualities. You're going to be connecting, you're going to be clear, you're going to have compassion, you're going to have confidence, you're going to be curious, creative, calm. You're going to bring that way of being to your presence. So the answer to the question, not what should I do? The first question is, how can I be with this experience? What response is wise with awareness and compassion? Which part of me is going to choose? And then you act. You follow? You act with 7 intentions and with 8 C's. You act with your heart, and soul, and your wisdom. But this is just trying to help you acknowledge that. And it's basically to just take a deep breath and stop. Anybody here ever get in trouble because they were impulsive? No. Or compulsive? Or did not stop and think and process and reflect and choose and respond, but just, pardon the expression, not a good one, because I think it comes from our days of the Wild West, shot from the hip. I don't know where that came from, but that's an old expression. And I can't tell you how different my life, you practice, you teach, you need to learn. If I had, all zip it, I didn't zip it. You can't keep me quiet. And I would just, and it didn't always end as well as I hoped because I wasn't thinking of how it was going to end. I just worked into it, etc. So this is about self-awareness, self-regulation. I'm teaching now at a high school in Bridgeport. It's quite wonderful to teach kids. They're learning reading, writing, and arithmetic, but they have to learn how to be resilient. They have to learn how to relate. They have to learn how to reflect. They have to learn how to connect with a part of them that responds instead of reacts. I think pretty tough being a teenager these days. I think it was tough in our days too, but I think it's a little harder with what's going on. So you have your sheets. We're going to end with another meditation. And next week, having done the intro, we won't need to do as much intro. We can do more sharing and experiencing. And each week, I'll try to have something to spark us, and your life should spark you. Get up and dance. Thank you. Let's close the eyes. And we will. I will today send our regards to her. I promise. And actually, when we finish this, I'll call him if I can get him. We'll all wish him well. Okay, we'll do that. But let's close our eyes. Let's think of her with compassion. Wish him well. Acknowledge. I wouldn't say he's suffering now. He's not a happy camper. He has some pain, being treated. He's okay, but he's anxious to get out of there. So wish him well. Send him compassion from your heart. Just about a week. Send them some compassion. Anyone that you know in the hospital now, send them compassion for what they're going through. And this is training the heart to have compassion for others, for ourselves. There's another quality that goes with the 7 intentions, very important. And that quality is gratitude. There's a lot, woe is me, but there's also there, but for the grace of God go I. And as bad as it is, it could always be worse. And it is what it is. And can I accept it with the serenity prayer? And what can I be grateful for? Yeah, there's a lot of struggles and challenges that I've lived through, that I carry, that I have. But what's good in my life? What can I be grateful for? What can I appreciate? How is my glass half full and not half empty? It's silly, but that's what they talked about in the old days. Count your blessings. We joked about it. Like little girl, the little boys being told at night, they're tucked into bed, count your blessings. We knew it would become medicine. Gratitude practice is medicine. Be thankful for what you have. Be grateful. Appreciate. So spend a moment just of gratitude. Just counting your blessings. And sometimes, even if we're home alone, going through whatever we're going through, it's important to connect with others. That's where compassion comes in. You're not alone. We're all in it together. When you have compassion for other people and their struggles, we're part of it. We're all part of a family, even if we're alone. When we're alone, we're all connected. So wish everybody in your life well, with a heart of compassion, with gratitude, and may you find peace in the storm. May you find joy in the challenges.